they never needed to force you. Because the most powerful control system in the world doesn't rely on violence, soldiers, or punishment. It relies on predictability. In nature, this is obvious. A flock of sheep doesn't need chains, it only needs routine. Once sheep learn the path to water, they walk it every day, even if better ground exists nearby. They follow the same trails, circle the same pastures, graze at the same hours. Behavior becomes so automatic that the herd moves as one without a shepherd raising a hand. Even when predators lurk, sheep do not overthink. They rely on the system, the flock, and safety in numbers. If you can shape movement early, you never need to chase later. If behavior becomes predictable, the system runs smoothly. If obedience feels normal, resistance never forms. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is how large systems, biological or human, survive. And this is where the difference between sheep thinking and wolf thinking begins. Not with aggression, not with rebellion, but with awareness. From childhood, most people are trained the same way. You're rewarded for following instructions, memorizing answers, waiting your turn, respecting authority, not questioning the structure. You're punished quietly for asking uncomfortable questions, challenging rules, thinking independently, moving faster than the group. In the wild, sheep that wander too far from the flock are corrected, not with cruelty, but with pressure. They're nudged back into alignment. A sudden bark from a dog, the movement of the herd, or a sharp horn of a leader are all enough to restore conformity. This isn't evil, it's efficient. A modern economy cannot function if everyone thinks independently, just like a herd cannot move if every sheep chooses a different direction. It needs predictable workers, predictable consumers, predictable borrowers, predictable voters. This predictability is what we casually call normal life. This is sheep altitude. Not stupidity, not weakness, just behavior optimized for system stability, not personal leverage. And every system needs sheep. But wealth is built somewhere else. The training begins early. From the moment children start school, behavior is reinforced. Repeat after me, sit in line, do your homework, don't question, wait for your turn. Even at home, subtle signals reinforce obedience. Praise for being polite, quiet, and patient. Mild disapproval for asking too many questions. Peer pressure from classmates who already follow the rules. By the time adulthood arrives, millions of people are conditioned to act predictably. And the system, whether school, work, or finance, doesn't need to enforce obedience through force. The behavior is already wired in. Here's the insight most people never hear. Obedience scales. Independent thinking does not. A shepherd can manage hundreds of sheep because their behavior is predictable. A company can train thousands of obedient workers. Banks can model predictable spending habits. Governments can plan around routine citizens. But systems struggle with people who move outside standard patterns. That's why independent thinkers aren't crushed. They're simply not rewarded early. Instead, the system rewards compliance, patience, credentials, long hours with linear pay. This is why so many hardworking people feel stuck. They did everything right and still plateaued. Sheep are not punished for being sheep. They're simply kept where they are. That's how large systems maintain stability. They normalize obedience, then label it success. Students memorize without understanding. Employees perform without questioning. Consumers spend without strategy. Obedience is efficient, but efficiency rarely produces leverage, because wealth is not symmetrical. It does not distribute evenly. It concentrates around awareness, timing, and positioning. In nature, most sheep stay in the center of the flock. It's safe, it's familiar, it's average. A few drift toward the edges. They see terrain the center never sees. They find better ground, new paths, more options. Humans behave the same way. Sheep thinking isn't about intelligence, it's about default behavior. Sheep thinking assumes if something is common, it must be safe. If authority approves it, it must be correct. If everyone is doing it, it must be necessary. If it feels risky, it must be avoided. Financially, this becomes trading time for money indefinitely, spending first, saving what's left, relying on a single income source, trusting institutions to solve long-term problems. Again, not stupidity, just alignment. But alignment optimizes for survival, not leverage. This is where wolf thinking begins. Wolves do not move emotionally, they move observationally. They don't follow the herd, they study it. They observe direction, rhythm, pressure points, and incentives. They notice when movement is forced and when it's organic. They recognize patterns long before action becomes obvious. Wolf thinking is not aggression, it's strategic independence. A wolf does not waste energy reacting. It conserves effort and deploys it selectively. In the wild, wolves may circle a herd for hours, sometimes days, without acting, not because they are afraid, but because timing matters more than effort. Humans who think like wolves behave the same way. They don't chase trends, they position early. They don't work harder when returns shrink. They redesign the system. They don't ask, what are the rules? They ask, who benefits if I follow them? Rules are surface-level instructions. Incentives are the engine underneath. Education rewards memorization because it scales. Jobs reward reliability because businesses need predictability. Debt is normalized because consumption fuels growth. None of this is accidental, and none of it requires conspiracy to function. The wolf doesn't fight the system, it understands it. That understanding creates optionality. Sheep focus on income, what comes in this month. Wolves focus on leverage, what compounds over years. Income is linear. Stop working, it stops. Leverage is exponential. Effort applied once can pay repeatedly. Leverage comes from skills that scale beyond time, assets that grow independently, systems that multiply effort, knowledge others overlook. This is why wealth clusters around ownership, timing, and distribution, not raw effort. Wolves also think in horizons. Sheep think in cycles. The sheep asks, what's safe right now? The wolf asks, what positions me best 5 years from now? This is why wolf thinking often feels lonely. It delays gratification. It ignores applause. It moves quietly. If too many sheep suddenly thought like wolves, the system would destabilize. So independence is tolerated, but rarely encouraged. Not out of cruelty, but because predictability keeps systems running. Wolf thinking isn't rebellion, it's repositioning while remaining functional. You stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, what makes sense given how this system actually works? That shift changes how you earn, how you spend, how you invest, how you tolerate risk. A sheep can work all day and remain average. A wolf observes, adapts, and positions. Both survive, but only one accumulates leverage over time. This isn't about quitting your job. It isn't about domination. It isn't about noise. It's about awareness inside the system. Small shifts, long horizons, quiet execution. That's wolf logic. If you're done moving with the herd and want to think like a wolf, subscribe to Wild Wealth. Here, we don't motivate the herd, we decode the system. Hit the bell and join those who see the patterns others miss, position themselves early, and build leverage quietly.